Travis Rosler, welcome to the CYT show. Really appreciate you coming back. The last time you came over and kind of done an interview with me as well, I think it was a year and a half ago now, and it went down a storm. So I'm really glad you came back. So welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you. It's great to be back. I was just saying how we just had a great connection last time. I love that we weren't really deep. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go today.
We did, and I didn't expect that, to be honest, because normally when you're interviewing somebody kind of about business, it's all kind of business, but this kind of went deeper, and that's why I'm excited to have you back as well. So I know a few things have changed for you as well since I kind of last interviewed you. So tell us a wee bit about, for anybody that doesn't really know you, if you can tell the kind of viewers a wee bit about your background, how you got to where you are. I know you're from Kajabi, obviously, but a lot of people won't know you with kind of everything that you're doing just now, and Kajabi, they might not know you as well. So if you give us a wee background, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So I created this app. I was the co-founder of this app called Kajabi that started in 2010. And the idea was that everybody has something like knowledge that they can share with other people. Yeah. And so my longtime friend Kenny and I, we created this app that allowed you to easily upload content and then sell that content. And what we didn't know back then is we were kind of creating a movement of the individuals selling their knowledge, and amazing things have happened since then. That app has made its customers over $600 million, which is crazy. Wow. I know many millionaires that we've met that have become millionaires from scratch, just sharing their knowledge. And so as I was going through the process of being a part of leading Kajabi and kind of growing it, I started interviewing customers just like yourself and hearing these incredible stories of people that have taken what they know and turned it into a business. So about 2 years ago, I started the process of interviewing and hearing their stories. And then last year, it's been over a year and a half now, I started the process of writing a book about that process. And so I wrote a book about Kajabi and how I founded Kajabi. And then I wrote a book about all the customers. And then I break down the concept that we all have knowledge inside of us. Every single one of us has something to share. And this book really takes you through that process of, I can share my life. I can change other people's lives. I can create a business. I might be able to become a millionaire or just even get out of my boring, daily job and do some really exciting things. So that's what I've been working on. There's so much other things to my story, but that's kind of a good start.
There is. That's a brilliant start to it. And there is, because I know kind of your backstory as well, where you came from and how you kind of got started as well, and how tenacious you were as well, with Kajabi in particular. Kajabi, just to let the viewers know as well, I've been using Kajabi now for, I think, a year and a half, 2 years, 2 years. And immediately kind of found Kajabi really beneficial for my business. I was using lots of other kind of software before, and immediately, and I think I've kind of looked at Kajabi and we've done over $200,000 in sales on Kajabi in my business alone. Yeah. So not quite millionaire status yet, but we've done 200,000. But the cool thing is, it's in 3 different niches. It's in personal development, business, and cryptocurrency. So
nice. Oh, wow.
This is across kind of the board. We've done this. So I love Kajabi, and I've kind of espoused Kajabi and how good it was as well. And you were the co-founder of that. But you've got a new book you were talking about called You Inc. And I've read it. You were kind enough to send me a copy months ago, which is brilliant. I read it straight away.
Awesome.
But in the book, you talk about specifically all revolves around the knowledge entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, we're moving away from the traditional sense of what kind of the marketplace and how it works. So we're no longer just going to be employees. We're going to be our own kind of businesses. We're going to run our own business. That's where the world is going just now. And knowledge is going to be the key for that. So can you explain, I know you've done it in your book as well so brilliantly, but can you explain for the viewers what a knowledge entrepreneur is?
Yeah, so the knowledge entrepreneur and the idea of You Inc. is that every single one of us is a business. I start the book off with the Jay-Z quote where he says, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. And that's what it's about, is focus on you are the business. And as I was interviewing customers, as we were building Kajabi, we found that every single person had these components to their life that created their knowledge entrepreneur journey. And in the book, I break it down into 4 simple sections that kind of evolves with all of our knowledge. The first one is professional knowledge. And I think in the world of online marketing and business, we're focusing on professional knowledge all the time.
Yep.
But the cool thing is there's 3 other main sectors that we have knowledge in that has value and could become a business. And the next one is passion. And some people are doing that, whether it's playing golf or flying helicopters or yoga or smoothies. Lots of people have passions.
Yeah.
And we see this all the time on Instagram and YouTube. That's like the next kind of sector of knowledge. But there's 2 more that are completely forgotten. And I know that we come to friends and family and we help people in this area of knowledge, but your knowledge in these 2 areas can change people's lives. And the first one is problems. Is we've had problems in our lives. You know, I've gotten divorced. I've experienced that. Debt, bankruptcy. There's so many things that can happen. Flunking out of school. There's so many, or trying to get a job. These are all problems that you've overcome as a person.
Yep.
And in the book, I have great stories of people that have lost their voice and had to kind of fix their voice to become a singer again, or like I said, debt. And that can become a knowledge business too. And then the last one, this is the powerful one that I had never thought about before, is pain. And this is difficult things. This is death. This is sickness. This is maybe an actual physical injury. There's a guy in there that was 22 years old in the book, and he threw his back out from doing CrossFit workouts. And at 22, the doctor said he had to have back surgery. And he's like, I can't do this. And so he became obsessed with going on YouTube and researching how to fix this. And all of us have done this, where we become obsessed on something and we watch YouTubes and Instagrams. And he figured out how to, by stretching and yoga, how to rehabilitate his back. And now he's a range of motion expert. And he helps everybody with the same concept. And that's what the book is all about, is looking at your life and what you've been through and turning that into a business, but not just a business, but finding purpose. Because I always say that maybe these things happen to you for a reason. Yep. Maybe they happen to you on purpose so that you could go through it and you could make it. And then you could look back and say, I can help you. You know, the whole hero's journey of, I made it. Come on, one step, one more step, and boom, you're there. And that's where the magic is in the book. I mean, that's where the magic is in all of this movement that's way beyond a Kajabi or the internet. It's just the idea of taking what you know and sharing it.
And I think that's the brilliant thing about the book as well. You've got case studies in there. So you talk about kind of loads of different stories. The piano guy as well. You spoke about, I love that kind of story as well. Could you just get a wee bit about it? Because I love that story when you talk about it as well. I've seen you on other interviews. So the piano guy.
So Jermaine Griggs started me on this journey in 2004 is when I first heard about the concept of selling knowledge on the internet. I mean, I had seen commercials for like how to use Microsoft, you know, and you'd buy DVDs in the mail. But back then I had never thought about really, and there was no YouTube really yet. I don't think at all in 2004. But he had taken this concept, and I met him at a conference, like an internet conference that I wanted to learn about marketing and online business. And Jermaine's story is he grew up here in Southern California in one of the ghettos of Long Beach, next to guys like Warren G and Snoop Dogg. These guys were like in his neighborhood. And his mom and his grandma were very protective. Every day he had to come home straight from school. And then when he was a little kid, his grandma wins a piano. This is a true story, on The Price is Right. And this is crazy.
Love this.
She brings home the piano and she starts teaching Jermaine how to play the piano by ear. And he becomes really good at it. Like he's like a genius at playing by ear. It's incredible. And he decided that he's going to start teaching people how to do that. So he bought hearandplay.com years ago. He starts selling DVDs in the mail. And by the time I met him, he was making high 6 figures. He was just graduating high school. He was going to UCI down here, University of California, Irvine. And I was blown away by his story. And at that same conference, I met other people, like the guy that was teaching how to play Madden football, the video game.
Yeah.
He was teaching you how to play it, and he was making like $70,000 a month. And I'm like, this is nuts. So that was the beginning, is hearing Jermaine's story and just seeing what an amazing person he was and how he was living by this idea of knowledge entrepreneur that I didn't even know what it was. And I think that's life. You know, we see things and sometimes we don't get it for years. It's almost like God plants the seed in our brain, and then later it grows and you go, oh, that's what that meant. And Jermaine was one of those that I met him years later. And I had met him at the conference, but I was one of hundreds that had met Jermaine as one of the speakers. But then I got to have lunch with him years later, and it was awesome to hear his story and to see how our paths had crossed. It was just really cool. So he had to be in the book.
Yeah, oh, it was brilliant. I love that story, and I love when you've kind of talked about it in the past as well. So I thought, oh, we'll have to share that with the readers.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's brilliant. Do you believe then? Because I believe this, but I don't know kind of your thoughts on this. Do you believe that everybody has the potential to be a knowledge entrepreneur?
Yes.
Within it, do you
Here's the
believe
thing.
somebody's got, or everybody has knowledge within them that other people want?
Yes. I used to, at first with Kajabi, I had this theory that everybody was good at something or they knew someone who was good at something.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I realize it's not just what you're good at, it's what you've been through, it's what
Yeah,
you've overcome.
yeah,
And every single one of us, because we're here today and we're still alive and we're watching this, we've overcome a lot of shit.
yeah,
Whether it's the divorce or losing a job or handicap that we may have to deal with. Like myself as a kid, I stuttered for over 10 years as a
yeah.
child. And if I wanted to, I could really dive into that and help other people through the knowledge of my journey of being a stuttering kid that stuttered all the way till I was 18. And then miraculously, it just went away. And by embracing that story and telling that story, I'll start helping people. And that's where knowledge entrepreneur always starts with, is just sharing your story and being real about it. Like the insta fakeness is, I think, coming to an end. The living this lifestyle photo every single day.
Yep.
We're all kind of sick of it. So it's time to be ourselves and accept our good and our bad and start sharing that in a genuine way.
That's key for me as well. Being genuine and being authentic. And that is being vulnerable. I think that's being vulnerable. Just admit to your mistakes. If you made a mistake, just say, listen, I've mucked up here and I've made a mistake. You don't need to apologize for it. You just admit you've made a mistake. We're not perfect. And being genuine, being authentic, you produce, or you kind of give off a certain energy, a vibe about you that people respond to. And a lot of people don't get that on social media. They think these kind of pouty, kind of fake photos are just going to hack it. They don't hack it at all. And I don't understand where that comes from, but the genuine people really are coming across, and that's where the energy is coming across. And that's when I first spoke to you as well. You were one of those people, genuine, authentic. You just wanted to share knowledge. It wasn't just about the money. It wasn't just about selling your book. It was just about, here, this is what you can do to change your life. And I think, and I don't know if you believe this as well, Travis, I think we're put on this earth for a reason. And one of the main focus we have to think about when we're put on this earth is to find out what the hell the reason is.
Exactly.
Why we're here. Once we find it, we then have to share it with others and say, okay, I've gained this knowledge. I'm going to share it with others. That's part of the reason why you're here. What do you think about that? Because I don't know, a lot of people, I don't know if they think kind of along the same lines.
I agree with that 100% because people ask me what drives me. Well, part of my story is last year I sold Kajabi, so I'm no longer an owner in Kajabi. And so people are asking me, well, what are you doing now? What's your drive? And like, that's my drive right there, is to help other people realize they have something inside of them and they have to share it. And for me, owning the fact that I am super passionate about this. Like, I used to downplay that I love talking to people and helping them pull that thing out of them. And part of it is I need to own that. You need to own who you are, what you're good at, what you suck at, what you've completely crashed and burned and failed at. And like we just said, share those, because you will start to see how it was meant to be like that once you do that. If you keep it inside and you internalize it, you'll never know. If you only talk to friends about it, you'll never know. That's the key, is you need to talk to people that want to hear this, because just friends and family are going to be like, well, what do you know about this? You're not an expert.
Exactly.
You're an idiot. But the reality is, if you are willing, and this is the hardest part, is to be out there. And if you're genuine, this is another important thing. If you're genuine, you're going to get haters, but it doesn't stick as much as when you're actually faking it, because then the haters, it sucks. And no matter what, haters suck. There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, when you realize, like you said, it's from God and maybe it's part of your life mission, then you have to bravely do it. And by doing that, you're going to get these moments of energy, which is powerful, where you share something with someone, just like us doing this interview. And the more I'm talking to, the more I can feel that energy and that power that's greater than us. And how great is it to feel that as often as possible, like helping people and I'm not gonna lie, helping people and making money, that is powerful, because when you can help someone and money comes into your bank, it gives life this crazy like fluidity. Like, wow, this works. Wow, I can travel here now and do this, or I could travel here. I mean, don't think you need to do this and be broke. This is a big deal that I think you need to accept, that maybe your gift is to have gone through that struggle, help other people, write a book, do a conference, a course, and actually create a career out of it. That's okay. Yep. You know, it's okay to make money too.
And that's a big thing. A lot of people don't kind of grasp that concept and think, well, if you're so good at this and you want to teach other people, why wouldn't you do it for free? Because energy is, or money is just an exchange of energy. So you're giving your energy away by giving your knowledge away. They're taking that energy and they're exchanging that energy with another type of energy, which is money. That's what I believe, and that's how I kind of reconcile myself about earning money. But what you're saying about money as well, and this is, I kind of love talking about this. When I first started in business, it was all about the money. How can I make the next one? What product can I make to get more money? And when I was thinking like that, I never made money. I made enough, but not enough to give up my full-time job. And then I thought, okay, I'm just going to stick in my full-time job and I'll do this on the side. I'm still passionate about it. I thought I'm going to try something else. And it was guided meditations. So I thought, okay, I'd stopped asking the question, how can I make more money? And asked the question, how can I help more people?
Yes.
And when I started, and I really seriously asked that question, what can I do to help more people? And the answers kind of started, wherever they came from, I don't know where they came from, universe, call it what you want. I started coming, I thought guided meditations is brilliant for all sorts of different things. And the money started rolling in. The business became easier, able to give up a full-time job, and that was the very first product I had. And I think it was $250,000 in a year, a couple of years or something. But that's when I stopped asking the question, how can I make more money, and start asking the question, how can I help more people? So do you think, how could somebody then go from where they are just now, they've got an idea, how do they go about becoming a knowledge entrepreneur? They've got an idea about something, they don't quite know how to do it, go about it.
Yes.
What would you say would be the kind of steps to do that?
Yeah. I think the first step is start with something you know really well. Don't be like, all right, I like this thing, I want to do that. But you have to have experienced this thing, whatever it is, because the first person you're helping is yourself.
Yeah.
And that's clear in pain and problem. But in passion and profession, this is the thing that you love. Like you're at your job and it's boring all day, but when you do this, you feel good.
Yeah.
You need to start looking for those keys, the thing you love, or it's the passion that you pay money to do, like, golf, or like I play hockey with my kids. I pay money for that stuff. Like find something in there that you can help other people with. And it's okay to start for free. You need to help other people for sometimes a long time.
Yeah.
But the idea is, how can you create enough value that they're going to pay you? And sometimes it's about rethinking, like you just said. Don't just blindly set it and forget it. I'm the kind of person where I'm constantly like writing things down. Like here's my journal, just like stuff I write down all the time of like me like trying to figure stuff out. I cannot just, all right, this is my business, this is what I'm doing. Man, nobody's paid me any money for this. That sucks. Like you have to continue to analyze where's the value, and at what point does the value render them to pay you money?
Yeah.
And once you get that formula, you're like, oh crap, it's like boom, 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 boom. And then you just keep optimizing the value you're giving them.
Yep.
And then eventually you can branch it off to other things, because you can try to, the whole thing, I hate it, fake it till you make it, but then you're fake. Or you're delivering fake crap, which doesn't last. So you might have a short-term gain, but if you can believe it until you achieve it, or be it until you achieve it, that's a big deal. That'll always eventually catch up to success and monetary success.
I think that is huge as well, about the kind of fakiness, because again, that comes across. If you're doing a live show, you're doing a video, even if you're doing a pre-recorded video, it still comes across that you're fake, that you don't really know what you're kind of talking about, or you don't have a passion for it. But when you have passion for something like you can tell just now there's a passion there that's coming across. And that doesn't come across when you're doing the kind of fake it till you make it.
Well, and you have to find that thing you have so much passion on that you're going to work all the time on it. Like it wakes you up in the morning early without an alarm clock. Like that's the thing, is I listen to so many great people, especially YouTube. When I mountain bike, I just let YouTube run of like all my favorite motivational people. And they're always like, I get up so early, I don't even have an alarm clock. And that's true, but you got to find the thing that gets you out of bed.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, switch, change, shift, course correct. That's important. That's the main reason why eventually it was time for me to sell Kajabi, because I realized I needed to do more of this than to be inside and try to help move that company forward, because I wasn't myself anymore. I had enough people in place to do my jobs and my skills that got us there. And for a long time, I beat my head up against the wall, like, gosh, how can I help? What can I do? How am I? And I even got depressed as we're successful, as I'm making good money and customers are making good money. The team is amazing. It's important to shift as soon as you feel like Steve Jobs used to say how many days in a row he'd look in the mirror. And if it wasn't hell yes, he was like, screw it. And that's important because you cannot, and we always think it's all about hard work only, I'm going to work hard and grind. And that is true, but you need to look up every once in a while and make sure, am I still heading in that direction I need to go?
Yeah.
And it's hard to know. I mean, here I am, I'm making shifts in my life, working on the book, working on new projects. It can be hard to decide which direction. And the advice I would give you is pay attention to anything that's going well. Someone always told me to lean into the good or lean into what God is doing. So just close your eyes and pay attention. Man, this is really good. I love this. Or I feel great when I do this. Like, pay attention to that stuff. It's important.
I'm going to ask a very kind of selfish question now as well.
Sure.
So I've been in business. I kind of told you about this, about kind of YDF. YDF was brilliant, by the way. It's exactly what you said. I was doing it. I was loving it. People were coming to me and asking me, how you growing your page? How you making money from your Facebook page?
Sure.
So I gave them stuff. I actually wrote an ebook and gave them away for free because there was so many people asking and said, here you go. Stop bothering me. I need to get on with my work because I love doing this kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then I realized, there's a business idea here. YDF was born, made $250,000, kind of over the period of 2-3 years. It was brilliant. But then there came a time where I'm thinking, is this still the right path to go down? Because I love personal development. I've got a book in me that I'm kind of writing just now as well. I love cryptocurrency and I love teaching people. I've got a show that I do daily on YouTube. I'm thinking, how do I decide what I want to do? And there's many other people in this situation as well. So you're going to help other people, not just me. So I'm going to be selfish and ask that question from you. Sure. So how do you decide?
How do I decide? Well, this is important because I don't think we always know until we keep trying things. And I'm going to quote Steve Jobs a bunch because I love him. And he said the thing about how you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only do it looking back.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd say step one is stop trying to connect the dots. Don't worry about it. Just collect as many dots as you can right now. And the way you know they're connecting is, like I just said, is take time to pause and think, I feel really good about this, or that seemed to work, or I know that if I shift this and this, that's going to work. It's important to be, I also meditate every morning, but I get quiet and I listen and I write things down in my journal. Like it's important for me to write down, here's an idea, here's a thought. Ooh, this is driving me crazy. This person always makes me stressful, whatever it is, because sometimes it's not just doing things, it's removing things too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to remove people, obligations, debt, whatever it is. You have to do things that you'll find that final shift that'll give you that energy and you're like, holy crap, this is amazing. The other thing I would say is, in the book I talk about GPS. And if you think about your GPS, like if you set a destination, the GPS is so polite. It's always like, turn left at your earliest convenience, or proceed to the route, or, flip a U, turn back around. But in our brain, we have this very hateful voice. It's like, you idiot, you're a moron. How did you do that again?
Yeah.
It's important to get quiet so you can hear that still voice, because in the book I say, maybe GPS stands for God pushing you softly. Excellent. Like, what if God is like, all right, Steve, you got to go here. I really see you going here. Like, make sure you're hearing that, because I'm doing that right now myself. I am really trying to get quiet. I'm trying to think, why do I want to do this? What are the reasons? Like, is that truly the destination, or is that my ego? Or is that truly like, yes, that's where I need to go? And there's nothing wrong with taking time to do that. And then as soon as there's energy, you got to keep going. I mean, energy is huge because it takes so much energy to build something. It's so impossible to build something from scratch. And if you don't hold on to the energy, you're never going to make it. And you're going to continue to grind. You're going to become cynical and depressed. You're going to start sedating with too much social media or television or alcohol or food or whatever. And you're not going to be living your passion anymore. And that happens to all of us who choose to discover our passion, because everybody else is living in sedation all the time. Everybody that's in traffic, myself, I did for decades, in traffic, going to a small cubicle, working on a computer. I was in full sedation. I was a zombie, and I didn't know how to wake up. I literally, until a friend of mine one day comes into my job, and I was really good at this. I could design websites. I've been doing it since 1998, websites and software. My job might have taken me 2 hours, maybe. The rest of the day, I just screwed around, and my friend comes over for lunch. He's like, man, this is the best gig ever. You could start a business. You should start reading audiobooks. And back then in 2002, 2003, Audible had just come out.
Yeah.
And I signed up for Audible, and that first year, read 5 books a month. So 60 books in 1 year. I'd never done that because I hate reading. And that opened my mind, because you can find energy through that too, through thought, through learning. And don't ignore that stuff. It's not an accident that this thing gets you excited, or whatever it is.
Love that. I've done exactly the same with Audible once, because I love reading, but it became cumbersome when you're driving and stuck in traffic or whatever. Then when Audible kind of came out, then the iPods and all that kind of all came together, you just thought, this is amazing. You read so much more, and you get so many more ideas from reading as well. Now, with all the knowledge that you've gained a lot of knowledge, because I've kind of read your backstory as well. If you were to start all over again because it is a bit more difficult, we have to be really honest. It is more difficult nowadays because there's so many more people doing it. Starting being a knowledge entrepreneur and starting a business with the knowledge. How would you go about starting now if you were to start over again?
So the one thing I've noticed, especially after selling my ownership in Kajabi, is it's not just about online courses. That's something I've shifted completely. And I know this isn't just me starting. I'll do starting over too, but this is something I know that I tell people now to share their knowledge to anybody. Like, I think anybody can help someone else. You could become a coach. It could become a consulting gig. Like, that's important. But I know that for me, like, with all the knowledge I have now, it's hard to stay naive. I was successful because I was naive. I didn't overanalyze myself because I didn't know any better. Like, that's a big deal. But at the same time, I also know what I know, and I need to leverage that and almost step back sometimes and give myself my own advice. Because how easy is it to give someone else advice? Like, you're going to ask me questions. I'm always going to have an answer for you or somebody else. But for myself, like, it's so much harder. So that's why I said every morning I'm questioning everything about what I'm doing and really trying to remember what worked, what didn't work, what problems did I ignore for too long. Like you were just saying, when something isn't going well, you've got to make a shift right away. Yep. That's one thing I would always do over, is make shifts quickly when I saw that something was unhealthy, whether it was a relationship or a habit or a business, whatever. I mean, why did I hold on so long thinking that hard work was always the answer when clearly God or something was telling me, this is wrong, this is unhealthy. Maybe it's human nature, I guess, that we think it's only hard work, and it is hard work. Trust me, building a business, writing a book it's harder than anything you can imagine, because nobody tells you what to do. Like, how easy is a job when you just show up and you do what they say? When you're an entrepreneur and any kind of self-starter, it's all based on you, and that's why it's important to have something that's guiding you. Yep. And like you said, money can be a guidance. A lot of people are guided by money the whole time, and they find that the more they get, the more unsatisfied they are. But when you can learn how to listen to the voice that's inside of you, and like you said, finding your purpose, why you're here, that will drive you every single day. And that's a blessing. And maybe that's how God made us. Maybe the Creator made us to be creators of whatever it is, not just art. Like, I just saw a whole thing where these people were doing a thing on business and how creative people are kind of the next wave of business. And he was talking about everybody should go back and get fine art degrees. And I'm like, what is he talking about? That's not what that means. It means to creatively think about life, to creatively, find solutions, to create in any way. Like, creating a company that creates income for you and 5 or 6 jobs for other people, that's creation at its ultimate form. And don't get me wrong, I think art is incredible, but unfortunately, less than 1% actually has the talent to really change our culture. And we have other talents that are just as important. I mean, so at so many levels we can create. And I think about that all the time.
That's because I do think about that as well. Because it's like we're kind of stuck in a matrix, but I believe there's different layers to the matrix. So the first kind of layer is you actually waking up and saying, I don't need to have this life. And it's about changing your mindset just to say, listen, I could have more than that.
Yeah.
But then you get into another level and you have to think creatively within that level and think outside the kind of matrix on that level as well. It's almost like there's multiple layers of the matrix. And each layer you get to, you're helping more and more people and you're thinking about life in a totally different way. That's when the money doesn't become important. So, for example, I've woken up and said, okay, this is not the life I want, but I can make money online. I can do this, can have my own business, set my own kind of hours. So that's the first layer. And then I realize, it's not about that. It's not just about the money. That's not where the passion is. It's about helping other people. So that's another layer of the matrix. And that's kind of what sounds like what you're describing there. I think that's really important to understand as well. There's about waking up, first of all, and you've spoke about that a couple of times.
Totally.
You've spoke about that a few times about kind of waking up. But the other thing you've spoken about throughout this interview, Travis, is listening to your body or listening to that inner voice, if you will. Wherever that voice, if it's the universe, God, whatever you call it, listening to. So I take it you mentioned you do meditation. Is there anything else you do to kind of get in touch with that?
Yeah. Meditation to me is important just because I want to find that space where I'm not freaking out. I have ADD, and one thing I do that is pretty helpful for someone that has ADD like me is I've been doing float tank therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like the salt water and tanks, and you lay in them and they're dark, and you almost fall asleep, but you feel like you're laying in space, and it's really hard to slow down your mind because it's so different. It almost takes you 2 sessions to really feel it, but then eventually you go to a place of complete creation, like thinking about life. And for me, I eventually talk to God as much as I can. I try to imagine if I could talk to God, and it was a conversation back and forth. And I ask God questions. Like I've done this since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like as humans, we've accomplished so many incredible things. And just the fact that we're talking across the world right now is insane. But I mean, even further back of like airplanes and everything, like where did those ideas come from? I am believing that they came from the Creator specifically, where he left mysteries in this world. And I spend a lot of time talking to God about that, praying on that, like asking. And not just asking selfishly, but like, am I supposed to know some of this? Like, do you want me to know something? Is there something that I keep thinking about that I'm trying to uncover? Because there's so many mysteries that are left. I mean, so many things in technology that aren't even close to being discovered and evolved. And for me, that's about, like you said, waking up. And every time it's about changing your old story. I was a kid who stuttered. I was a kid that grew up on a very small farm in a small town. I struggled in school. I thought my parents never made any money. Those were all stories. And the power is we live in a world where the internet has destroyed all myths. Yeah. There are no myths anymore because you can research everything on the internet now. And that has allowed someone like me to completely clean my slate. And I believe I could do anything. Like if it hits my heart strong enough, it's like the thing from the book Think and Grow Rich, conceive, believe, achieve. Yeah. I'm in the conceive phase a lot now. And the next phase and the hardest phase is belief, because the type of belief that it takes you to achieve is pretty powerful. Yep. And that's where the magic is. Thinking of ideas is not that hard, but believing it at such a level that you will shift everything in your life, that's where you truly achieve. It's not some magical thing where I pray to the universe and boom, it happens. No. Your belief changed so strongly that you change everything about your life and your lifestyle and everything. Like then you achieve it. And I focus on that all the time. Like, what do I need to change? What am I doing? What's working well? Like all that stuff.
That is brilliant, because the other project I'm working on is a book called Oblique Principle.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's all about your beliefs, and it truly is. I'm big, huge. That's my personal development. So I love talking about beliefs, how they're formed. And you just said about wiping the slate clean almost.
Yes.
It's kind of all these beliefs have been passed down. They're not even your beliefs. They've been passed down from generation to generation.
Totally.
And handed over to you, and you've kind of taken them on. But you mentioned, and that's a powerful kind of analogy, wiping the slate clean, starting again, And if you can even change one belief about yourself, even having just to say to yourself, I am worthy, that one belief can change your whole life.
That's
literally
right.
change your whole life. And that's what it is for business as well. It's just a different set of beliefs and mindsets that you need for business. And that's what you're talking about, which is brilliant. So I love that you're talking about that as well. And so not coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences, but
No,
right.
that's awesome.
We're coming up. I know we've got about 20 minutes. I'm going to try and cram this in as much as possible. I'm just going to read here. So I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you as well, quick fire questions, but a couple of big things I want to ask you. So just thinking, you're in the middle of a big kind of shift in your life because you're focusing on your book. I'd love to know, what does the next few years kind of look like for you? Or what do you think the next, so you've got a path that you can see just now. What does that kind of look like for you? I'd love to know.
I love this new journey I'm on of inspiring people that they have something they can share. I feel like it liberated me out of my cubicle and all the other things. I mean, the things that happened to me over the past, it's been 8 years. Like, unfortunately, my marriage fell apart. I got divorced, but then I kind of started over, and I met this new woman that's my best friend and my wife. And that happened during Kajabi. I even found a Kajabi customer that helped me through that by taking his courses and listening to him go through his divorce. And I'm definitely on that as part of a movement. I know there's new apps I'm starting to build, which I'm really excited to continue to think. God gave me these ideas. What do they look like? What are they going to become? And I love that. And I want to do new things too, in like totally new spaces. And some of them I can't even talk about now, but it's really about being brave enough to do things you never thought you could do before. And I want to keep doing that, because I think in Kajabi I don't want to say I got stuck, but I was successful and comfortable, but I lost that like desire to continue to jump off the cliff, like, all right, let's go. This is it. Let's go. And I want to live in that on a consistent basis as much as I can. And writing helps a lot. Like writing a book, especially including part of my life, it was therapeutic to look back, because you never have hindsight in your life unless you actually sit down and go through actual events. You have stories you tell yourself a lot. You have stories other people tell you. You have photos you look at. But how often do you look back and say, wow, this happened and that happened and then this happened? Like, a lot of dots will always connect when you do that. And maybe all of us should do that on a regular basis, is take account of the things that happen. Like you said, there's no accidents. And when you start accepting that, not only can you have hindsight behind you, but you can start to have foresight, because you'll be more open to things that before you'd be like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Like, here's very taboo is I didn't think I should get divorced, because I grew up in a conservative Christian home, and getting divorced was the death nail of life. And forever I didn't. And it was killing me, literally depression, suicide. It just wasn't where I needed to be. It wasn't where my ex needed to be. It was terrible, but I couldn't get beyond the story of it's okay to start over. It's okay. Like I just talked about this recently, about an oak tree cannot become an oak tree unless the acorn is buried. And there are things in your life, in my life, that I have to bury all the time. Things that I think are not supposed to change. I have to trust, put them into the darkness of being buried and all the bullshit that's necessary to fertilize that seed, and embrace that place. And I find myself there now. Great things are happening, but at the same time, it's dark because I don't know what's next. And I think it's important for me to embrace that darkness, be okay with whatever grows. And it's kind of exciting. It's scary, but exciting.
And that's the thing, you've touched on it there. It's scary, but it's exciting at the same time as well. And I think to a degree, that's what life should be like. It shouldn't be that, okay, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm going to work, I need to get the kids ready, I need to do this, I need to pay the mortgage, I need to pay the bills. Then the next day, you do it again, and you're just like, it's
Groundhog Day over and over again.
It's an absolute nightmare. And everybody's gone through that. Everybody has gone through that. You, me, and kind of everybody else. But how exciting is it when you wake up and you don't know what you're going to do for that day, but you know something exciting is going to happen, and because you're making it happen. And I think that's a big difference. Another question that I've got would be, for the viewers, what are the top 3 things that you would encourage the viewers listening or kind of watching right now to do to start walking the journey of becoming a knowledge entrepreneur? What are the top 3 things would you say?
Definitely. The first thing would be
Take time, like I said, every single morning and start writing things down that come to your mind. Things you want to do, things you want to change about your life, people you need to remove from your life, people you wished were in your life. Yeah. Take time to truly ask for what you want. And God says that he's supposed to give us the desires of our heart. We'll start digging into the true desires, because I used to think that desires were all terrible in my heart. They were all bad. They were all evil. But the reality is, buried in there somewhere are the true desires that God planted inside of you. Like if you think about a seed, when it's buried, it doesn't know what it's going to become, but it actually inside it does. It has DNA that is ready to explode. And all of us have that DNA if we would just take time to be quiet, because we're in this rat race. We're in this. It is the matrix. We're truly asleep, and the first step to being asleep is dreaming beyond where you are.
Yeah,
that's the first one I would do. And not only now is it to write down things you want, the next step is to start writing down plans. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start talking about this. Social media is a great place. Facebook is incredible. I like Instagram, but Facebook still has that community component where you can talk and get feedback. Start doing that. I mean, there's stories in the book, and I say read my book will help you become a knowledge entrepreneur, but I don't want to be selfish, but I know it'll help you. There's a lady, Diane Fram, who had trouble as she was coming through menopause, and someone said, you need to intermittent fast. And we've heard of intermittent fasting on the internet, but mostly it's for guys or muscle builders or all this stuff. Well, as a woman, she couldn't find any information for herself. So she started researching. Then she said on Facebook, hey, friends, I'm going to do this intermittent fasting. Who wants to join me as accountability? Pay me $20. And that was her first time. And now she makes 6 figures teaching other people how to intermittent fast. And that is what it's all about, is going forward publicly and just saying, I'm going to do this. Like, it's not just bragging. It's declaration. I can't even say it.
Declaration.
Declare. Yeah, you need to declare it. I'm the worst at pronouncing some words. So you need to declare that. And the last one is truly trusting, like trusting God. You need to have some kind of belief. I don't at all anymore say there's a religion or anything, but there is something inside of you that needs to be guiding you. Because if it's just money, the crazy thing about life is, for a long time, money can be the thing.
Yeah.
I think forever here in Southern California, my drive was to make enough money that I could buy a house.
Yep.
Because houses are crazy expensive. And that drive was enough to point me in the right direction forever. But the problem is, you eventually get the house, you get the things you're heading towards, and what's next. So it's important to always think about the big story of your life. I mean, I think all of us should think of our own lives of, what if it was a movie or a story? What would we change?
Yeah.
Or what would we embrace about the story right now?
And
that's
what's
important.
Your legacy as well? What's going to be your legacy? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to quickfire questions. So these are just going to be quickfire, and this is just kind of a bit of fun as well, just to get to know you about you a wee bit as well. Okay, so what's the best personal development advice that you've ever received from someone, and who was it?
I think the best was the Think and Grow Rich thing I was saying about conceive an idea, believe it, and you can achieve it. How truly powerful that is, and that's really all it takes. I mean, it's so simple, but it really is all it takes to do something.
Yep.
Is overcoming each one of those 3 steps, and you will achieve it.
Yep. Love that. And by the way, if you've not got Think and Grow Rich, you'll hear every single business person you've ever kind of listened to on an interview. Every single person has got that. So
that's right.
Buy that book, Think and Grow Rich, if you've not got it just now. I've got 3 copies of it, and I've got an audio copy of it. I love it. Totally love it.
Yep.
Number 2, can you give us a personal habit that you have that contributes to your success? I think we might have heard one already, but
definitely the ability to visualize is important, and writing things down.
Yeah.
And capture your ideas however is comfortable for you, whether it's writing it, whether it's recording it. For me, it's drawing out just boxes and shapes. Start capturing those things out, because that is the first step of reality, is from thought to paper or thought to computer. It really is. The first step is thought, just the fact that you take the time to think it. You know, Think and Grow Rich is about that concept of truly thinking it. And until you wake up, that's the thing, until you wake up out of the normal society of school, job, paycheck, you're not going to be able to do those 3. So you have to change that mindset somehow.
Love it.
And you have to think outside of yourself. Look at the company you work for. Look at people you admire. And how did they get there? Who are they? What do they do? It's important to start doing that.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Number 3, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone who feels stuck in life? So they're living in this kind of matrix. They're still at the first level, so to speak. How would you, and you've kind of answered this before as well, but just one thing, one piece of advice you would give.
Why are you doing it? Ask yourself why. It's important. It's kind of generic in self-help, start with why.
Yeah.
But really dig into why. And like I said, money is okay. It's a great driver. But find other whys you're doing it. Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Because if you ask why enough, you'll realize maybe that's not the thing. This thing I'm doing isn't it. Because like I said, hard working and everything, it's all drilled into us because of school, and the conditioning of our current society is all put your head down and work hard. But why?
Yeah.
Like it's like a 2-year-old kid. Why? Why is the sky blue? Why? You really have to have that voice in there for quite a while until you can. There's no more whys.
Yeah.
You're like, well, because of this. And eventually that because is so powerful that there's no more whys that can break it down.
Love that as well. What one book apart from your own, and we'll talk about that after, what one book apart from your own would you like to give everyone? If you could give one book to everybody in the world, what book would it be?
Well, I'd say Think and Grow Rich, but you already said that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You know what is a good one for me that helped me just break out of societal thought was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
It was just such a good, and some people say, is it just like a myth or legend? Who cares? The concept of it is so good because my dad was a poor dad. My dad was a teacher,
Yep.
a football coach. He had a great paycheck. He had gotten the best degree he had to get the best paycheck he could get. But there was people in his hometown, in my hometown, that were the rich dads. And I lived that world of analyzing the two myself. And I think that's the first step for a lot of people, is to start analyzing other things that you just blow off. People, where money comes from, how people make money. Money is not the root of all evil at all.
Yeah.
Money is an incredible tool to make your life better and other people's lives better. And books change your mindset. Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a great one.
Yeah, brilliant. Love that one as well.
I would say the other one is 4 Hour Work Week, because that also shifts your mindset to really think about leveraging your time and the possibilities.
That was a big shift for me. I don't believe in the 4 hours. I don't believe you can do it in 4 hours a week, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's kind of possible. But
Sure.
it was a mindset shift totally for me, so I love that one as well. Oh, thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Can you recommend another person you'd love to see interviewed in this series?
Selfishly, I would like you to interview my wife.
Oh,
Her mindset is so awesome. That's why I married her. But she has an incredible mindset, an incredible journey, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's a great journey of where she came from, how she was born. She'll have to ask her because it's a good story. And just to see a beautiful, smart woman and how she believes, it's just encouraging to me. And I wish I would have known 15, 20 years ago that there would be a woman like that in my life. So for selfish reasons, I would say interview Paola, because she'll encourage a lot of women that are in her circumstance of being a single woman, professional woman, and she made it for so long, and she was so beautiful doing it, not just in personality and style, but just, I don't know. She needs to write a book too. This is all push her to get out there more.
Love that, and I love your answer, and I'm going to have to hold you to it now. Would Paola be up for doing that?
You'll have to ask her. I'll encourage her. But it's hard sometimes to be in front of the camera, but she does it sometimes. So
excellent. Totally love that. And that was totally unexpected, awesome. Out of kind of left field. Thank you very much for that. I will write to her after this to see if she'll be up for it. Okay, so she's going to kill you. Where can people go to find out more about you? Now, I know this is a book, and I want to say one thing about the book as well. This is a book that Travis has got out just now. It's a brilliant book. He sent me over a copy with an inscription as well, but this is what I love about the book as well. And you've got this. I don't know if this is going to embarrass you, but hopefully not. He's got this as a kind of dedication. To my 2 sons, Kyle and Connor, I hope they can look at me one day and know that despite my imperfections and my failures, I was able to find success anyway. I want to show them that they too can achieve anything they set their minds to. Yep. That kind of got to me when I read that. Kind of the first time I read it, and I thought I had to share that. But that's a book, You Inc., and I'm going to share a link to that as well, Travis, in the kind of show notes as well. So this will be kind of all over again on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that as well. Where else can they go to find out more about you?
Yeah, if you go to travisrosser.com, and my last name is Rosser, you can find me there. I'm on Instagram, Travis Rosser, Facebook, Travis Rosser. And right now I don't have that many followers, so I reply to people. And if not, my wife reminds me, like she's been doing with you, Steve, like, hey, you need to talk to Steve. And like, so I am trying to stay in there as much as I can, because I love hearing from people about what's going on. And is this message working? Does it help people? And so, yeah, I'm out there.
Brilliant. Travis, this has been excellent, just bang on time as well. Thank you so much for your time again. Another excellent interview. And I think everybody's going to love this as well. So thank you very much. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. It's been powerful. This has been great.
Oh, cheers, man.